Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. Welcome to a live show. If you're watching this and the time is 9:05 New York City time, this is a live show, so you can comment live and I can have the opportunity to interact with you live face on video. Welcome everyone. Again, share on your social media, share this live event because the more the merrier. And after this live broadcast concludes, you'll be able to watch it offline. And if you got friends that couldn't see it in real time, go to IrixGuy.com and you will find this previously recorded episode. So again, this is a live show. If you're watching it at 9:06 p.m. New York City time on December the 30th of 2016. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. This is an across the board live broadcast. So anything is fair game. Obviously, keep it clean, keep it appropriate for all age groups. Stray away from profanity because that's not in the spirit of IrixGuy's Adventure Channel. So going through the chat here, okay, got a new drone again, LOL. That's from Crazy K957. Actually, I've gotten several new drones, and you may have seen my videos, the Mavic Pro and the Phantom 4 Pro. Now, the Mavic Pro, I love the small size. I love the lesser weight. Very portable, extremely easy to travel with. And it has a 4K camera on it. It tops out at 4K 30, which is great. But the Phantom 4 Pro kicks it up a notch and tops out at 4K 60 frames per second, which if you retime videos is a lot better. So I've had a lot of fun with that. This is not just a drone show. This live show is across the board. So we can talk about drones, we can talk about whatever. But yeah, those are my two current drones. Now with that said, neither are perfect. From my field test, haven't had a perfect experience with each of those drones. The Mavic Pro, even focusing tap to focus, most current firmware, the most current DJI Go app version, the one that you got to download separately, I still couldn't get everything perfected. With the Phantom 4 Pro, it's the best video that I've seen to date. But with that said, with the Phantom 4 Pro, my first unit had a dud controller. My second unit was fine, except for the fact that if you watch my videos of the Phantom 4 Pro, you'll notice intermittently the video just kind of does like that. And I thought it was a slow write speed to a micro SD card, so I put a faster SD card in than what came, or not SD, but micro SD, the little bitty one, than what shipped with the Phantom 4 Pro, and I still encountered the issue. Updating the firmware to the most current version did not resolve the issue. So hopefully it's something that will be quickly resolved because it's intermittent, but if that little with the video occurred at the key moment within a video, it could really destroy someone's production. So just something to be aware of. Crazy K957 says, should I buy the Mavic or the Phantom 4 Pro? Well, I love the Mavic. The Mavic is great. The Phantom 4 Pro. Here's the way to look at it. Mavic Pro is the first in class. So, DJI's been around. They've had multiple Phantoms. I've flown Phantoms since Phantom 1. I've flown Phantom 1, Phantom 2, Phantom 2 Vision Plus, Phantom 3 Pro, Phantom 4, and now the Phantom 4 Pro. And it's continued to get better. It's a proven platform. DJI Mavic Pro brings something new to the table. It brings enhanced portability. It brings lesser travel size and weight. Something more portable. Just like a little DSLR camera, throw it in your pack with other gear and you can have it in the field with you. A Phantom, even though it's not too big and it's not too heavy, it's something that is, if you're going to say, well, I may take a drone with me, am I going to take it? With the Phantom, there likely would be hesitation. With the Mavic Pro, it's like, well, it's about the size of a camera. Might as well take it. Even if I don't use it, it's not going to encumber me when I'm enjoying my hike or whatever. So from a travel size and travel weight perspective, I really like the Mavic Pro. But it's not perfect yet. And again, it's DJI's first attempt at a foldable drone, something smaller and more lightweight than a Phantom. So it's going to get better. The camera's not perfect. I know you got to use tap to focus. You got to download the app. It's not yet perfected. Hopefully it will be soon. Now the Phantom 4 Pro, you're getting a proven aerial platform, basically a glorified Phantom 4, which is awesome. I love my Phantom 4. The Phantom 4 Pro takes it a step further. You're getting 4K 60 frames per second. So, you're getting even better 4K video, especially if you're the type person that likes to retime a video, speed up and or slow down in post-production. Those extra frames per second will really benefit the person that's editing the video. So from that perspective, for the video, you can't beat the Phantom 4 Pro. For the portability and still good video, you can't beat the Mavic Pro. But my honest advice on today's market would be to just go with the Phantom 4. Phantom 4 does 4K 30. I haven't had any problems with my Phantom 4. And when I say problems, I don't mean, oh man, it's horrible, I don't like it. I mean, there are troubleshooting challenges that will hopefully be addressed with a future firmware update. So the Phantom 4 at this point in time is the most reliable drone for me. I can get consistently excellent 4K 30 video. But what I believe is that we may see a Phantom 5 soon that may be a foldable design, may have a modular camera, may do 4K 60 or better. So, if you want to hold out, that could be something worth waiting for if it does indeed come to market. But check out 400orbelow.com because I've got all my drones listed there. Kirk says, I just picked up the Mavic Pro. Can I ask a basic question? When flying, do you turn off your phone? Actually, I don't turn off my phone. What I do, I put it in airplane mode, and that's just a way to be safe because anytime I'm flying a drone, I don't want anything that could distract me. Just like driving a vehicle, you don't want your phone going off, this, that, and the other. It's unsafe. So for that reason, when I fly my drone, typically I fly with an iPod Touch, and you can find the model that I use on 400orbelow.com. But if I'm using my iPhone 6S, that's the phone I got now, the iPhone 6S Plus, I'll put it in airplane mode, and then I'll fly to be more safe. Jesse says, love my Phantom 3 Pro. Phantom 3 Pro, excellent drone. And it's one of those things where Phantom 3 Pro to Phantom 4 was a very, you got obstacle avoidance, you got, supposedly a little bit better communications for FPV, this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, the differences between Phantom 3 Pro and Phantom 4, in my opinion, were negligible at best. The Phantom 4 gimbal was more internalized. The build quality of the Phantom 4, it felt more rigid. It felt like it could last longer. The Phantom 3 Pro, from a video perspective, put a Phantom 3 Pro 4K 30, a Phantom 4 at 4K 30, put the video side by side, try to see the difference. It's probably going to be tough. So, great drone. It just continues to get better. Adam says, hi, Irix. What happens if you don't upgrade firmware on a Phantom drone? Can I continue to fly? Oh, well, my best advice now, in other environments, when there's a software update or a firmware update, it's often a situation where one may say, well, this software update was released on X date. Let's wait X amount of days before we implement the upgrade. In a software type environment, that sort of scenario, that would probably be optimal. Make sure that it works before you break stuff. But when you're dealing with drones, and again, this is just my personal opinion. It may not be best practice, but my personal opinion, what I do, I like to upgrade to the latest firmware. And I do it for a few reasons because, number one, if the firmware fails, then it'll provide me with a troubleshooting opportunity. I'm involved with this hobby for a lot more than just going out in the field and saying, oh, that's cool, I'm flying a drone, and I've got I snapped a cool photo and captured a cool video. I'm into it for a lot more than that. So, for that reason, I'm the guy that always goes out and updates the firmware ASAP. Is that best practice? It may or may not be. But would I fly with obsolete firmware? I would not, because it could potentially be unsafe. Because if it's old, it may not be optimized to include whatever safety enhancements may have become available for that drone software. So there's, just my opinions. Jacob says, "Hi, Irix. I'm new. I'm currently in Oahu and the Obamas area here as well. I traveled with my Mavic, but don't know if there is a TNFZ, a temporary no-fly zone. I've seen a few other Mavics fly around. Is it safe?" I would assume it is not safe. If there's any sort of what they would refer to as VIP movement, I think that's the terminology that the FAA may use. If there's any possibility that may be there, I would not. I would keep that thing on the ground. I would keep it powered off. I would not risk it. Just my opinion. Joe says, "Do you plan on reviewing the Phantom 4 Pro Plus?" Actually, and that's a great question, because with the Phantom 4 Pro, I really love the Phantom 4 Pro. Now, if you've watched my videos, my first Phantom 4 Pro field test, I never got it in the air because the controller was bricked. My second Phantom 4 Pro worked fine, and I was able to capture some good video with the nuisance that intermittently, and if you watch all my Phantom 4 Pro videos I've got uploaded now, intermittently you'll see this annoying, my best way to describe it, just very quickly, it just does, the video does like that, and it's not optimal. Now, if that happened at a key moment during the video, it could be catastrophic. And, someone wouldn't want to use an aerial video system that is less than 100% precise. The only platform, well, not the only platform, but the best platform that I've used to date and have not encountered any video glitches is the Phantom 4. And I had excellent success with Phantom 3 Pro as well, both in 4K 30. But the Phantom 4 Pro does 4K 60, and it's the 4K 60 where I encounter that. So what I'm probably going to do, I may pick up a Phantom 4 Pro Plus. And for everyone out there that's not familiar, Phantom 4 Pro Plus is the Phantom 4 that has a controller that has an integrated screen. So it's the first DJI drone that has come with an integrated screen. On paper, the screen appears as if it may enable the pilot to fly without having to use the typical iPod Touch like I use or an iPhone. You've got to use a sunshade, because if it's really bright, the screen's going to be really hard to see. But on paper, the Phantom 4 Pro Plus, and again, I haven't had my hands on one yet, but on paper, it's supposed to have a greatly superior screen so that regardless of the brightness of the sun or whatever, it's supposed to be easier to see. Not to mention, it's more convenient because you don't have to deal with the cables, the finicky, in my opinion, lightning style cables that you use for an iOS device. You don't have to deal with all of that. It's integrated. Now, when you think of integrated, you can also think of like a vehicle's GPS, satellite navigation system. You go out and buy a brand new car or truck or whatever, and you spend X amount more and you get satellite navigation. Yeah, that's fine and dandy, but it's integrated into the vehicle. So it's not like a modular option where, bring your own iPad, bring your own iPod Touch, where you can just pop it on and off. If you have a problem with the screen, if it's part of the kit, that could be a potential disadvantage. So, there's pros and cons to both. Just my opinion. Let's see. Jesse says, "Agree with everything you say and do. Cool channel." I appreciate that, because ultimately this channel, it's been my mission since day one to continue to grow. And it's not just video views, it's subscriber base, and it's also recognition. If you're out somewhere and you see something, it's like, I saw that on IrixGuy's Adventure channel. We talked about that on the live show. That's the kind of cool factor that YouTube brings to the table. I mean, not being a multimillionaire and being able to go out and create my own talk show on a big network, This is the second best, but it's still really cool. Mark Granger says, here lies IrixGuy.com pushing up the daisies. Pushing up the daisies. Let me see. I'm not familiar with that terminology. I'm going to Google that. Let's see. Pushing up the daisies. Let's see what that means. Dead and buried. Let's see. Pushing up the daisies. Hold on, I'm going to look it up. And this is from thefreedictionary.com. It says, pushing up the daisies. Dead and buried, usually in the future tense. I'll be pushing up daisies before this problem is solved. If you talk to me like that again, you'll be pushing up the daisies. Cool. So, let's see here. John says, this is a really dumb question. Now, keep in mind, there's never a dumb question. And if people tell you it's a dumb question, they're an arrogant person. And you don't want to talk to those people because they're arrogant and they're annoying. This is a really dumb question. Could Phantom 3 Pro stock props cut off your finger? Oh, no doubt. And I would never test it. But when I'm flying a Phantom, my assumption is that it could take my fingers off. It could take my head off. It could take my, insert body part here off. So I don't trust it. Always be safe. And something I always do to be, and I never trust it either, I never get it close to me, but always wear glasses. So should one of those propellers fly off during flight and it's in close proximity of me, it may better prevent me from losing my eyesight. I mean, I don't trust these things. They're great. It's a great hobby. But, be safe, be responsible, and be paranoid. Don't scare people off. Be like, man, drones are dangerous. They are dangerous. But, be responsible, be proactive, and be as safety aware as you can. And, ultimately, when you're in that environment and you're flying, always be aware of your surroundings. Always have that situational awareness because it's super important. Oh, yeah, Mark says, joke. Look at the sign in the background. Here's a sign that says IrixGuy.com. Adam says, what is the best way to support your channel? Is it purchasing from your website? We appreciate you, man. Well, and again, I got to insert my disclaimer here. Support is not required. It's something that your support, your viewership, if you go out and, number one, if you subscribe, that helps me a lot. If you share with others, that helps me tremendously because it's spreading the IrixGuy gospel. It's getting it out there. It's helping me to grow. That helps me a lot. And when you like my videos, that helps me a lot. And when you're, if you're out with family or friends or, strangers or whatever, it's like, hey, man, you ought to check out this YouTube channel. I'm like, what's that? YouTube.com/IrixGuy. And spell it out. Heck, write it down. IrixGuy. YouTube.com/IrixGuy. Pass them a card. Be like, man, you need to subscribe too and tell everybody you know. This channel is not a cult. But it's that cult-like following that helps me to continue to grow because I can't do this without your viewership. There's other ways to support me. If you go to the main page, youtube.com/IrixGuy, there's a link that says support my channel. If you want to do that, again, not required, but tips are obviously appreciated. You can click that and you can support my channel. But I appreciate it. Jesse says drone life. That's right. No better way to live. Drones are the future, and drones are today. Touch tomorrow with your drone today. That's the slogan I created for 400orbelow.com. Scott says, I have 3 and 4, but waiting to see the 5. It is too expensive for me to get every slightly upgraded DJI drone that comes out. Very true, it is. It's super expensive, and I wouldn't say it's a waste of money, but I would say that in certain scenarios, such as Phantom 3 Pro to Phantom 4, the upgrade was negligible. You got obstacle avoidance with the Phantom 4. You got enhanced build quality. But if you look at 4K 30 video on Phantom 3 Pro and Phantom 4? Is there a huge difference? In my opinion, there's not. Now, Phantom 4 Pro, the camera being 4K 60, it is a huge difference. But if you look at the Phantom 4 Pro and the Phantom 4, take the camera out of the equation, what are you really getting that's different? Well, you're getting enhanced range because of the Phantom 4 Pro. It's got a different communication system, but you're flying line of sight to be safe and responsible anyway, so that's not really a benefit. You're getting obstacle avoidance sensors in multiple directions, but if you're flying in a wide open and safe location, those are a minimal value anyway. Ultimately, with that jump from Phantom 4 to Phantom 4 Pro, you're getting the 4K 60 capability, which is huge. That's a very nice camera. What I want from the Phantom 5, and I'm hoping, and I remain cautiously optimistic, what I'm hoping for from the Phantom 5 is that they take what they've put into all that R&D. I mean, that was some money, man. DJI Mavic Pro, that was some money. It's like, I can just see these guys, and I don't know anybody from DJI. I'm just speculating here, but I can see them in a corner. It's like, hey, man, y'all hear GoPro's coming out with a drone? It folds up. And this guy in the corner, he's like, folds up? GoPro drone? And they're like, yeah, man, we got to get a jump on GoPro. We got to make sure they don't rise to power. And then they're like, GoPro, they become our first true competitor. So, GoPro came out, Mark Woodman and crew, they came out on stage, they did the dance and everything. They said, we got something revolutionary. Not only do we have a new drone, but our new drone folds up. It mounts with a new GoPro. We got 2 new GoPros coming out, GoPro Hero 5 Black, GoPro Hero 5 Session. And not only that, but you can take the gimbal off of the drone and mount it on this handheld device. First time ever that GoPro itself has released a handheld gimbal. So on paper, they have the ultimate package. And on paper, they have the ultimate piece of fear for DJI. And it caused DJI to rapidly innovate. And that's when DJI came out with DJI Mavic Pro. And they just said, GoPro, you're not even a threat. We've got a smaller package. We've got a, this, that, and the other, better range. You're doomed. So, it's funny to see how all that stuff comes out. Let's see here. So, yeah, I think DJI Phantom 5 is going to be a game changer. I think we're going to see a drastic redesign with the Phantom 5. Mark says, serious question. Any guess on whether DJI will release a Phantom 5 on its usual schedule in spring, since they released the Phantom 4 and the Phantom 4 Pro in the fall? This is my assumption, and again, this is based upon my knowledge of the industry. I don't have any inside knowledge, but my assumption is what happened is that GoPro releasing Karma, they knew it was coming, but it kind of caught them by surprise. So when GoPro Karma was announced, they really had to scramble, and they said, well, you know what? They probably intended to release Mavic Pro and then the Phantom 4 Pro at the same time, but since GoPro Karma came out, we gotta get Karma on the market right now, because otherwise they're gonna kick our butt. They didn't know that Karma was going to be recalled and was going to be a failure at that point in time. They considered it to be a real threat. So my assumption is that we've seen everything. So we've got Mavic Pro, we've got Phantom 4 Pro. All of that was released. The Inspire 2, I don't even talk about. I don't care about the Inspires. It's me. It's too big. It's too heavy. But will we see the Phantom 5 in the spring? It would seem to make sense. I mean, we're looking at, many people have said it over and over. DJI is the Apple of drones. And if you're not familiar with Apple, you need to turn on the internet or the TV, because Apple's coming out with a new phone. And if it's not a new phone, it's something else, and it's something new, like an Apple Watch or whatever. And they've got these incremental releases, the S's. You get an iPhone 6, and then you get an iPhone 6S, and then you jump up to iPhone 7. I'm running the iPhone 6S Plus, so I'm not even on the current iPhone. But it gets to a point to where they're coming up with all these incremental releases. But I think due to the fact that with Mavic Pro, we saw something brand new form factor. They wanted to test the market's reaction. They wanted to have something that would just devastate GoPro. GoPro thought they were going to be game-changing with a foldable drone. They failed because DJI, I love GoPro, but GoPro failed because DJI came out with Mavic, and they're just like, oh, you got a Karma that folds? Look at this. And they pull it out of their pocket, literally. So, yeah, I think spraying for a Phantom 5, a radically new design, would make sense because, the Phantom 4, you look at a Phantom 4 and a Phantom 4 Pro, the components aren't that much different. So from an assembly line perspective, why not prolong the life of all this stuff you've potentially got in stock? Let's not build Phantom 4s. Let's build Phantom 4 Pros. Let's get rid of all this stuff. Then, because the market reaction to Mavic Pro was well perceived, let's go ahead and radically redesign the Phantom platform. Let's make it foldable. Let's add a modular camera. Let's let people have a high-end portable device. Whereas the Mavic Pro is more of an entry level, but still it's got 4K video. It's an impressive device. But let's make something better. Let's let people have infrared camera capabilities. Let's let people have a spherical camera. The first time on a drone, a spherical 360-degree camera for a drone. Let's do that. Or let's just let them use a 4K 60 frame per second camera. Let's make our money like GoPro did in the past. GoPro is a camera company. But as we all know, you don't just buy the GoPro. You buy the GoPro, and that's a small chunk. Then you're buying mount after mount. You want to mount it to your chest, your head, the side of your boat, your dog, your cat, whatever. That's what makes GoPro great. And you're looking at DJI Phantom, a proven platform. Let's morph that into something that's more portable and more customizable. And let's stick, let's develop an aircraft that can be upgraded. Let's not model our business after, you got to buy everything in one piece. Let's sell the customer the drone, and then let's sell them camera after camera after camera, and continue upgrading the cameras. And if the aircraft itself ever becomes obsolete, create a new version at that point in time. But when you look at an aircraft, it's basically a tripod. It's a tool that holds that camera. In this scenario, it flies. So, I see DJI's business model changing, and that's just my opinion. Let's see here. John G says the problem with all Phantom 3s is sometimes it has tilted horizon. And that's actually a problem not just with Phantom 3. I've seen it with Phantom 4. Not too pronounced, but I have encountered it before. And I've seen it with previous model Phantoms too. And for everyone out there that doesn't know what tilted horizon is, if you're watching a DJI Phantom video, instead of everything being level, it may be kind of crooked. Tilted horizon. And you can often do it, like Mike said, often an IMU calibration may resolve the issue. But even after calibrating the IMU, sometimes it may resurface, unfortunately. John G says, I did 3 times in a flat surface, and my dad measured it and everything. Giovanni says, the best right now for me is a Typhoon H. That's good. It's working out for you, man. I had a horrible time with that drone. I had a defective micro SD card slot, and then the camera quality, man, I just never could. I never could get the 4K video to meet or exceed the quality of the Phantom 3 Pro. So that's good. You got a good one, man. John G says, no offense, but I flew my friend's Typhoon H, and it was buns, and I lost control, and I'm really skilled flyer. John G says, it wasn't responding immediately like my Phantom. Zal Nub says, Irish guy, can I see your flip-flops? Actually, right now I'm wearing, I'm not wearing flip-flops, which is unusual. But let me see if I... Hey, Sean Coonery just entered the studio here. Hey, Sean Coonery, what is she doing? Yeah, I can't lift my foot up that high, unfortunately. but I'm just wearing shoes, which is unusual. Big Manganet says, when is Mavic 2 going to be released? I think he means Mavic, DJI Mavic 2. And what would you like to see changed? Well, number one, if they go Mavic 2 versus Phantom 5, what I would like to see a number one, a camera that's as good or better than a Phantom camera. Because ultimately, if you look at the specs of the Mavic Pro camera, it's not as good as a Phantom 4. It's, we need a better camera option for that smaller platform. I would also like to see landing gear, and I know you can get add-ons, and I've got it listed on 400below.com. You can find it for the Mavic Pro there. But out of the box, I would like to see a slightly more elevated landing platform. Whoa! Sorry about that. Hold on just a second. See if we're back online here. That was not fake. That was Sean Coonery knocked over the tripod here. Let's see. Hold on just a second. Hold on, almost got it back. Let me see if I got the video here. I gotta lift it up. Sorry about this. This is a real production. It's nothing doctored up. Hold on just a second, everyone. Okay, I think we're back now. So basically what happened, I had my webcam on a tripod, and Sean Coonery, the big Maine Coon cat, he rubbed into the tripod, rubbed against the tripod rather, and knocked it over, and it landed on a hard surface in the studio, and I think it may have broken the mount for the webcam. So I may have to be getting another webcam. So again, to your point earlier, how do you support the channel? Go to youtube.com/IrixGuy and click support the channel. And it's it's that kind of support, if you wanted to give it, that would help with scenarios like this. So let's get back to the questions here. George says, have you ever had people get mad when you fly your drone? I've had, and I don't even know this dude, but I had this dude. So I was out in the field, safe and responsible location, doing everything correctly, not creating a scene, and I could tell this guy was irritated. He kept looking over, and I think, one of those people that they're just miserable person. They have nothing to smile about in life. They're just miserable, and they make themselves happy by trying to create conflict. So this dude was at the other side of the field, way far away, not anywhere close to the drone, and obviously I kept the drone intentionally far away from this dude. But a few moments later, this gentleman came up and said, and this is after I'd landed my drone, he's like, "What are you doing in this field?" And this, that, and the other, trying to be all offensive. And I said, "Well, I'm flying my UAV. What are you doing in this field?" And then he goes on and on about this, that, and the other, and I'm like, "Sir, is this your field?" And he said, "No." And I said, "It's my field." And then it was just kind of a weird conversation. He's like, "Your field?" I said, it's our field. I said, the city owns it. We can all fly here or do whatever we want to. So then, I could tell the dude was irritated, and, and he left, and this, that, and the other. And a few minutes later, 2 police cars rolled up. So I'm like, yeah, this is going to get fun. And they came out, and, it was an interesting conversation because they came out and they're like, we need to talk to you. What are you doing? This, that, and the other. And I'm flying my drone. What do you think I'm doing? I'm out here flying my drone. And that led to one thing, and then like, well, that's great, but just be sure you don't drive on this field, because I was driving my truck around in the field, not creating any ruts or anything. I was just having a good time. And they said, yeah, just park off of the field and you'll be fine. And that's what that gentleman was complaining about, was me being out driving in this field. So I wouldn't say the dude. No, I will say the dude was a jerk. But when you're, to answer your question, have you ever had people get mad at you when you're flying your drone? Yeah, that dude was mad. But I don't think he was mad at me. I think he was, again, one of those people that, in his mind, he was just a, person that's just miserable. And misery creates conflict. People that are miserable, they want to go out and try to bring others down. He didn't bring me down. He brought the police force after me. And I stood to my ground and, had a good time, talked to the cops, and heck, after I got my truck off the field, the cop was out there flying the drone with me. So, it was an interesting experience. So, Adam says, Irix, I edit on Windows Movie Maker. Is it logical to film 4K using such software? Definitely not. If you're going to do 4K, if you're doing it on a PC, you'd probably want to check out something like Adobe Premiere, or you may want to pick up a Mac. And if you don't want to go far, deep in the pocket with a Mac, check out. Hold on just a second. Check out a Mac Mini, because it's an easy way to get into the Mac editing software. Start out with iMovie, that should come bundled with the Mac OS, but then upgrade to Final Cut Pro 10. I do everything in Final Cut Pro 10. You can find my workflow and everything for editing 4K video on you can find it on 400below.com, or also snagbear.com that I just posted the link to. So, let's see. Yeah, let me send you a link. Zalnub said, what brand is the camera? Talking about my web camera that I'm using right now. Let me send y'all a link to this. Actually, it works quite well. I'm fortunate when Sean Coonery knocked it over that it didn't scratch the lens on it. But I think it may have broken the mount, so I may have to get another one. Let me check out here. Let's see. In just a second, I'll get y'all a link. Yeah, I've had great success with this camera. It's been, if you watch Epic Drone Show as well, you'll see a lot of my current episodes that I filmed with this. So that's the webcam I'm using right there. Adam says, dude, are you okay? That was Sean Coonery that knocked that down. Yeah, actually it was. He was rubbing his face against it. I'm using a very lightweight tripod for this, because I've got a few tripods, but I didn't need the heavy duty one. And if I'd had a more heavy tripod, he probably couldn't have knocked it over as easily. But he knocked it over, and it hit the treadmill in my studio. So yeah, it could have been catastrophic. And it may have been. It may have broken the mount on the webcam, but you never know. Mark says, I swear that is the coolest cat on YouTube. Sean Coonery agrees that he is. He definitely agrees. Let's see. Scott says, I love the cat. Sean Coonery appreciates it. John G said, I had the same type of lady. She said it's not going to fall on my car right. So I said a freaking meteor can hit your car. I would not have said that if she wasn't snippy to me. Very true. That's... Mark says, Ha, I demoed my Phantom 4 to the local sheriff at a party. He loved it. He even got a chance to fly it. Very cool. It's good that people see these as a fun hobby and not a threat. Everybody wants to, anything new, whether it's a drone, whatever, people are like, man, that's scary. I don't understand it. It's dangerous. It's got to be dangerous. And yeah, drones can be dangerous if they're not properly used, but, don't jump to the assumption that something is bad because you don't understand it. That's what a lot of people do. They default to the negativity, and that's not the way to be, in my opinion. Jesse says, question for you. Can you interchange batteries? Like use Phantom 3 Pro battery to run Phantom 3 Standard or run Phantom 3? I only own the Phantom 3 Pro, but I think the batteries are the same among all 4 Phantom 3 models. But again, I only own the Phantom 4 Pro. So yeah, I mean it's drones in 2017. What are y'all most excited about in 2017 with drones? Let me step over here and check on this camera really quick too. Let's see what the damage is, how catastrophic it may or may not have been. Okay, so I think I may have actually fixed it. Yeah, so I've got on this camera I've got a tripod mounting plate that's a quick tripod mount. It's called an ARCA, ARCA mounting plate. The Phantom 5 out, or was it before Phantom 4, or was it before Phantom 3 when they put out the teaser and they had the, it looked like a lot of special effects, this, that, and the other, the drone that was flying around. I forget what they called it. They called it the, which video I'm talking about. Maybe that'll be the Phantom 5. Mark says 360-degree video for VR and 1 hour flight batteries for me. I think that would be great. It's amazing when you look at VR that, number one, we don't see a company like GoPro that has a 360 camera. The one I've got is from LG. LG is a great brand, but how are they one of the early adopters of VR? I mean, the LG camera I got, it actually works quite well. Now it's not it's not refined. It's more of a, I like to refer to it as a proof of concept from the perspective that it works, but it's not really a streamlined interface, and it's not 4K, and it's not even, when you look at it in HD, it's not up to snuff with like a GoPro or something like that. That's not a spherical camera, but it does show that the technology works. And you can look at an environment and check out some of my videos. I've got a few more I'll post. That's the camera right here we're talking about. But that's something I took out to. I was out on an island off of Anguilla, and it's called Sandy Island in the British West Indies. And it's just a tiny, and actually you may have seen the island. Justin Bieber, it's his island. He goes out there a lot on his boat or whatever. But the day I went out there, nobody was out there. It was just me and a few people at the bar and my wife, and that was it. We were out on this island, Sandy Island. But I got a lot of spherical videos out there, and they were cool, and it shows what the camera does. But again, it's nothing. The experience is great, but when they get to the point to where they can have both the experience and the 4K video quality, that's when VR is really going to snap hard. And I think that's what we will hopefully see in an upcoming drone. Is it going to be a DJI drone? Is it going to be the GoPro Karma 2? Hopefully GoPro abandons Karma 1, because it is, it's, if you're looking at it from a software perspective, Karma 1 right now would be considered vaporware, in my opinion. I don't mean it as an insult. I love GoPro. But they need to acknowledge their mistake. They need to acknowledge their failure, and they need to move on and innovate and put something really, really innovative out on the market ASAP, because they missed Christmas. because of the recall. That's horrible. Adam says, how did you get into drones? I would love to know. I walked into a hobby store to buy a kite, but I walked out with a Phantom 3. Actually, that's a really cool story. And I used to fly kites, too. I flew them up in Annapolis, Maryland. It was a really cool hobby. Drones. There was a dude on my YouTube channel, and his screen name on YouTube is actually Gene at the Lake. If you want to check him out, let me type that in here. But Gene at the Lake sent me a message. He's like, "Hey man, this is a cool hobby, this, that, and the other," and it sparked my curiosity because I'm like, well, that does look cool. But when I looked at the product, and at this point in time it was Phantom 1, and I think they had Phantom 2 had just come out. But it was extremely expensive. It's like, am I going to get something like that that's, number one, something that expensive, but number two, something that's a somewhat brand new technology? Am I going to get something like that and enjoy it? And factoring in it's going to be off the ground, it's going to be in the air. This is something that could fly away. This is something that could crash. This is something that can malfunction. And, I'm sinking all this money into something fun. But it was his confidence and persistence saying, hey, dude, you got to check this out. You got to check this out. And finally, I checked it out, and I became addicted. And it's like any other technology. If you started with computers, and I'm an older dude, I'm in my upper 30s, so I'm old. I got gray hair here and stuff. So, I used to build computers. I used to build PCs. I'm a Mac guy now, but used to build PCs, used to build servers, this, that, and the other. So, growing up with those technologies and starting when it was in its infancy, MS-DOS before Windows. You had a black screen with white text, and you had to know the commands to manipulate the computer. Drones are the same way. It's more of a it's a challenge. It's a hobby, but it's something that, being an early adopter, you're elite from the perspective that not everyone does it. It's like anything else. When something's been out for a while, initially when something releases, and I'm just talking from a technological perspective, but some sort of technological toy, people are going to be, the early adopters are typically going to be the nerds and the dorks, people that are going to brave something that others wouldn't. And then after you see that, you're going to see like people that come in, they're like, man, that was cool. I saw so-and-so doing this, so-and-so nerd doing this. I'm going to check it out. So you get the curiosity crowd, people that aren't the initial adopters, but they're kind of following the bandwagon. And then you see something that becomes so overwhelmingly popular, like we've already seen with drones, where everybody's getting in it. Someone that's not even involved with technology, someone that's not even interested in photography or videography. People are just getting into it because it's a bandwagon. It's a cool thing to do. They're out on the lake, they're at the beach, they're at the, in the mountains or wherever, and their friend that's the popular dude, whatever, they've got to have everything. So they've got to have all this nerd technology to keep up with current technological trends. So that's where we're seeing this go. And I mean, I wasn't an early adopter. I mean, I got in when Phantom 1 had been out for a while and Phantom 2 had been released. So actually I bought the Phantom 1 before I got the Phantom 2, and then the Phantom 2 Vision Plus, Phantom 3 Pro, Phantom 4, Mavic Pro, and Phantom 4 Pro. So I was a somewhat late adopter, but it's interesting. Jesse says, didn't catch your answer about the batteries. Please repeat. Jesse, check out my website and the Phantom 3 page, and you'll find all the batteries there. But to my knowledge, with the Phantom 3, if you're dealing with the Phantom 3 batteries, I know with the Phantom 3 Pro and the Phantom 4 Advanced that the batteries are the same. And I think it may be the case with the Phantom 3 Standard and Phantom 3 4K as well. Again, I own the Phantom 4 Pro. Scott says, if you're old, I must be a fossil. Well, everybody's got their own... we got so many demographics here, which is so cool. That's one of the things about YouTube that's so cool. Or the audio just went sideways. Let me see. Let me check my... Hey, studio production crew over there. Yeah. Okay, how's that? Did they fix it? How's the audio now? Cool. Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, I think I've got some bandwidth issues in the studio, and that's actually something on the channel that I've got in the works, and it's upgrading to a. Oh, thanks, Essex. Audio is good. Thank you. Yeah, something I'm working on is upgrading the studio. You know, as the Adventure Channel's budget allows. I mean, there's not, you know, again, this being an independent operation, not part of a multi-channel network, the the budget is always a huge concern. But it's my intent, and I'm hell bent upon continuing to grow this. So, you know, everyone's participation right now in this live show is super important, and sharing with others is equally important, because we need to continue to grow. And just to look at some stats real quickly here while we're all online, let me load this up. So the channel right now at 9:57 p.m. New York, it's 30.7 million video views, 48,040 subscribers. So, you know, what my short-term goal is to get to 100,000 subscribers as soon as possible. Because when I do that, if they still offer it, I ought to get this. I think it's is it silver? It's either silver or it's silver. A play button from YouTube. It says, you know, you've hit 100,000 subscribers or whatever that is. So that's my short-term goal. You know, the long-term goal is to easily break 1 million and turn this into a lot larger production than it is now. And when I say that, I don't mean getting bought out, because that's a point of failure that a lot of people go through. And yes, I've had a lot of offers, and there's been a lot of situations where learning life maintain of what you have created and continue to incubate it, continue to grow it. And that's my mission here with the IrixGuy's Adventure Channel, is to really take this channel to the next level without any outside assistance. Now, if you want to support the channel, you know, by all means do so. Go to youtube.com/IrixGuy. And again, that's not required, but it's something that if you want to support it, you can. You know, other ways to support the channel, as we mentioned earlier, you know, share, encourage people to subscribe. They don't have to be your friends. They can be, you know, colleagues or whomever. Just say, hey, check out this channel, youtube.com/IrixGuy. And even say, well, you know, share with others too. You know, let's get this guy to 100,000 subscribers and beyond, because that's what we need. But enough of the channel rant. You know, people ask me about that, and I just want to throw it out there. I mean, this channel is super important, beyond important to me. So, you know, this is so good. So let's see, what do we have here? Had a message come in. The production crew is ordering food, so that's great. Okay, that is good. So what else do we have? So drones, you know, anything is fair game. Obviously, keep it appropriate for all age groups, because this channel is not it's not a dirty channel. I mean, it's a clean channel, and it's all about technology and entertaining content. So while the comments roll in, let me load something here from the channel. One of the questions that has come in, Joe Nazar says, have you ever used Litchi? Okay, I've not used Litchi. I've heard so many people talk about Litchi. If you're not familiar with Litchi, Litchi is it's a third-party app that people may choose to use for their DJI Phantom. I've never used it. I plan to use it during a future field test. And actually, I probably got... a Phantom 4 Pro Plus. That's probably going to be my next drone because, unfortunately, my Phantom 4 Pros, the first one had a brick controller and the second one had a dud camera. So, yeah, I want to check out Litchi. I mean, I'm all about field testing any technology. It's a third-party app. Have I been unable to do what I need to do in DJI Go app? Actually, I haven't. I love that app. But I need to check out Litchi. Adam says, actually, Essex Drone and Adam, they say, how do you do the backdrop? And Adam says, yes, do another backdrop video. Well, check this out. I'm going to show y'all something really cool. So right now, this is live. But what I can do is I can change the backdrop right now on the fly. And I'm going to do this for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to keep my sign that says IrixGuy. What I'm going to do is change the backdrop. Be just a second here. We ought to see this. Let's see. So that's there, and then I'm going to move this up. Boom. So now you ought to see me on a beach where I was on an island previously. But now, actually not now, but here in a second, you should see me on a beach. Boom. There we go. So there's several secrets to this. Number one, you need an internet connection that's sufficient bandwidth because this is a live broadcast. If you're watching this at 9:03 or 10:03 New York City time, this is a live broadcast. So the way this works, and again, it wasn't an easy thing to understand. For starters, I've got several lights. In front of me, I've got a multi-panel LED, and I want to create an article, a blog post, where you can find all of this. But go to snagbear.com, and you can find the lights. But I got this multi-LED light in front of me. That's called the key light. That's what's lighting my face. To my right and to my left, I've got two softbox lamps. Now what they're doing is they're illuminating the, I just blinded myself staring into the light. So the softbox lamps, they're adding a little bit of light to me and to my clothing, but ultimately they're lighting the backdrop, which is a chroma key wall. And there's a special paint that I use, and you can find that. Go to snagbear.com. Let me get everybody a link to that here. Be just a second here. And while I load this, I will say this wasn't a quick thing to figure out, and I haven't even close to mastered it yet. I mean, it's a work in progress, but there's so many components that go into this. Let's see, chroma key. Okay, so here's my green screen tutorial. And it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. I mean, it's one of those things, if you choose to do it, start on a budget, and then as budget allows, continue to upgrade your lighting, upgrade your cameras, do whatever you need to do. But I mean, at a bare bones level, it's possible for someone to create a somewhat convincing chroma key result. Can I see your flip-flops? Actually, oh gosh, my flip-flops. These are my flip-flops tonight. I'm not wearing flip-flops. I'm wearing, they're just some shoes. So these are my loafers. Wearing my loafers tonight because just how I rock it, But yeah, that link right there with the green screen, that'll show you how I do this. Now, keep in mind there's green screen that you record with the camera and you edit in like Final Cut Pro, which is where I do all my edits, but it's not real-time chroma key. So this is real-time because it's a live show. So what I'm actually doing now, everything is happening. It takes a lot of processing power. So I'm on my MacBook Pro, but in my studio, I've also got a high-end iMac loaded out with memory, flash storage, this, that, and the other. So all the live chroma keying is going through that. So that's where the live chroma key occurs. My laptop, I'm simply using it to communicate with y'all on the live YouTube chat. So it's a lot of moving components concurrently. Now the software that I'm using for the live chroma key is called Wirecast. Now within Wirecast, everything that you see here, so the sign that says IrixGuy.com, that's an image. It's a PNG, a transparent image. So that if you look at that image, everything within that image is see-through except for the sign that says IrixGuy.com. The second component is the background. That particular background is a video that I filmed with the Sony a7R II on an island called Anguilla. It's Shoal Bay. So, anytime the Captain IrixGuy cruises around, gets out on his boat, he captures video for the sole purpose, not the sole purpose, but for the purpose of using as a green screen backdrop. So we got two components, IrixGuy.com, and we've got the background video. And then we got the foreground video. The foreground video, as I mentioned earlier, is the webcam that Sean Coonery knocked over. Inexpensive webcam. Shot y'all the link earlier. It does the job. And one of the primary components, it doesn't matter how good your video is, you've got to have excellent audio. And this is the microphone that I use. And I'm about to flash open the link to my microphone if you want to check that out. It's, a lot of people, they may say, oh man, I'm going to buy the most expensive camera, I'm going to buy the most expensive lights and this, that, and the other. But they often neglect to add the quality audio. And if you've ever watched a TV show or a talk show in particular, you notice that very high quality audio. And that makes or breaks a production. Just like video can as well. If the video quality is not good, it can be poorly perceived as well. But here's the microphone that I use. That's the mic. Frank says, you need foam under your computer, pretty noisy. Yeah, it is, and actually I type really hard. I like to just aggressively tap a keyboard. That's just my style. But you're right, I need to put part of my new studio. I may move to the West Coast, and if I do, what I want to do is get, you can do a lot of off-camera, the foam that you see on the walls and the doors and this, that, and the other to make the acoustics better. That's my goal. Mark Granger says, semi-drone related. Have you tried a real VR rig yet? The PlayStation VR is really cool and could be great for 360 drone videos. I have not tried my most real VR rig is that budget camera that I was talking about. The little, let me get a link to it here. Let's see, LG. So the most real VR that I've done is still loading here. Yeah, that's the most real VR that I've done, and I'm looking for a better VR camera, but obviously I don't have the budget for the GoPro VR rig, the multi-camera rig. And the main thing is, even if I did, the VR editing software at this point in time is not up to snuff in my opinion. So, it's something I want to kind of wait on. But what I do want to do is go back to YouTube Space in New York City. You can check out my previous videos where I went up there and recorded and toured the studio. It was a really great people, great experience. But I want to go back because one of the new programs that YouTube Space offers is VR. And they're saying, go out, take this VR camera, do this, that, and the other. So I want to go there and experience some really high-end VR gear that IrixGuy's Adventure Channel's budget right now currently could not afford. So that'll be interesting to test. I think VR is the future. I don't think that, in the past we've seen, on multiple occasions, we've seen virtual reality goggles and they've never seemed to materialize. We've seen stuff like Google Glass that, they had beta test versions, but it never materialized. But I think VR technology as a whole, it only makes sense that it will turn into something great. And it's a way to experience, and the reason I feel that it'll perform really well is that it's a way to relive a moment in multiple lines of sight every time. So, if you're, for example, you're on a boat ride, traditional camera, all you're going to see is where that camera's pointing. So if you're pointing the camera in front of the boat the entire boat trip, that's all you're going to see when you play it back. But if you had that same camera, but it was a VR camera, it's filming in 360 degrees. So when you relive that boat ride, maybe a sailboat came by. Maybe a guy on a jet ski came by and shot you I'm not going to do that. Shot you a bird or whatever. You've got it on video. Whereas if you were only facing forward with the traditional camera, that's all you're going to be able to relive is the forward-facing experience. But if the same camera was 360, you can watch that video multiple times and have a different experience every time. That's why VR is so cool. I don't think it's a gimmick. A lot of people may argue that it's gimmicky technology. I don't think it is. I think it's a technology now that's still in the proof of concept phase from a video quality perspective and also ease of editing perspective. We don't really have, you don't get your Final Cut Pro software that'll, out of the box will enable you to easily edit spherical VR video. But when that happens, it's like anything else. A lot of people will complain, but man, why are you filming in 4K Ultra HD? Most people are still using 1080p high definition TVs, and that's very true. But if you care about future-proofing your content, as a content creator, you may want to go after those more current technologies to potentially better future-proof your content. And for that reason, that's why I film everything in 4K Ultra HD. And I've noticed a trend where more and more people are enjoying the content in 4K, and that makes sense because 4K Ultra HD TVs, smart TVs, they continue to drop in price. It's like any other technology, it continues to become more affordable. So, let's see here. What other questions do we have? I know this is a live show. I was waiting on the pizza. I got the production crew got a ton of pizza coming, so be good. Got Sean Coonery some cat treats. Gonna feed him some special food while we enjoy our pizza. Yep. So this is. Let's see. Let me check the other comments here on this site. Yeah, someone had asked, how doesn't the Phantom 4 have 2 IMU units? I'll have to check the specs, but off the top of my head, I think that it may. And I can say from a flight perspective, Phantom 4 is the best flying experience that I've had so far with a drone. Obviously, the best video being the Phantom 4 Pro, but due to the glitch with the, that little intermittent stutter, it's not perfect. And I mean, that's a deal breaker for me because when I film, I want to make sure it's dead on throughout because it may hit that key moment, and then that would ruin my entire production. So, super important. Zalnub says, "Step on me, please, IrixGuy." Hashtag step. Yep. Break you in half, man. I'm too heavy. I got to get out and do some more cardiovascular activity. John G says, yeah, if there is a 1 in 100 chance of a flyaway. something with drones, and this is something I've always done since day one. Every time I go out, I assume I will never see that drone again. I know that when I'm flying it, it's in a safe and responsible location, but I always assume I'll lose it. Maybe it's going to crash into the ground and break into 1,000 pieces. Maybe it's going to land okay, but after it lands, it fails to function. It's completely useless. It's bricked. So, yeah, it's early adopters. We are spending a premium to participate. And I shouldn't say the hobby of the future because it's the hobby of now, but it's becoming increasingly more popular on a day-to-day basis. So, it's expensive. Expect to lose it. Mark says drones are pretty reliable nowadays, DJI ones anyways. That's great, but I miss the epic flyaway videos on YouTube. Yeah, it's funny, it's like anything else. YouTube is an incubator of buzz. It's... People often create content just for the sake of a reaction. Reactions are important. From a marketing perspective, if someone watches something and it creates a reaction, then that was an effective post. Where it's a video or a photo or whatever, if it makes people feel a certain way or makes people respond in a certain way, that was effective. And what's more catastrophic than someone buying an expensive toy, and as soon as they buy it, they take off and it goes away and they never see it again? How bad would that be? So when I see those videos on YouTube, given my personal history with DJI, Phantom 1 through present, I've had nothing but a reliable experience. I've encountered troubleshooting challenges, which is to be expected with any new technology as an early adopter. But a lot of those, maybe there were a few legitimate flyaways, but how many of those were the result of user error? They failed to properly calibrate the drone. They failed to understand the operation of the drone. And how many of them were totally faked? They take off a drone, they edit the video, they make it look like it flew away, just to create more buzz for their channel. One thing is certain. If there's ever a drone that flies away from IrixGuy, you're going to see the video on IrixGuy's Adventure Channel. It's not going to be edited. So hopefully it never happens. John G says, did you start with like Sky Viper drones or Parrot Bebop drones? I started with Phantom 1. So I did Phantom 1, Phantom 2, Phantom 2 Vision Plus, Parrot Bebop, Phantom 3 Pro, Phantom 4, Typhoon H, Phantom 4 Pro, and Mavic Pro. So, I've been around the block. I haven't, I've flown the Inspire. I had a friend that had the Inspire, and it's too big and it's too heavy, but we took it out to the field and got it in the air. It was cool to watch, but I'm like, man, do I really need something this big and this heavy that's going to provide me with video quality that's the same as a Phantom 3 Pro? Maybe people want that. Maybe your confidence every day is based upon the size of your drone. And when you go out and you say, I got the Inspire, it's big, it's heavy, or you go out and say, I got the DJI Phantom, I don't care. All I care about is the video quality and the video stability. And I can do better, as good or better, with a Phantom 3 Pro than I can the Inspire 1. I have not flown the Inspire 2, and I have no intentions to do so because it's too big, it's too heavy. If DJI wants to get me to fly an Inspire, they need to shrink it to the size of a Phantom or smaller. And hopefully they do that. Hopefully they just discontinue that altogether and they make the DJI Phantom 5, the new go-to platform with modular camera option and foldable design. We'll see what happens. John G says, would you ever get Parrot Bebop 3 if it comes out? Well, this is the only thing that would prompt me to even try it out. The Parrot Bebop 1 and the Parrot Bebop 2 were pretty much the same drone. They had software-stabilized video. And for the non-technical audience out there, what it means is that with the DJI Phantom, you've got a gimbal. So when the drone turns, like this, the video is remaining horizontal with the horizon. With the Parrot Bebop, you had the same concept, except instead of having that thing dangling below the Phantom, which is called a gimbal, the Bebop or the Bebop 2 did not have that. It used what's called software stabilization. So basically it's capturing a large area, a large frame, and then it's utilizing software to stabilize the image. So you're getting lesser quality video, and then you're getting video that's stabilized but does not look as smooth as a gimbal stabilized solution. So think of gimbal as a physical device, which it is. And think of software stabilization as taking video and using software to try to make it look better. It's an inferior technology in my opinion. For me to try a Phantom 3, or not a Phantom 3, but a Parrot Bebop 3, what I would have to have would be a Parrot Bebop 3 that, number one, offers 4K or better video. Number two, has a gimbal stabilized solution. I don't want software stabilization. That's garbage, in my opinion. I look at Parrot Bebop not Parrot Bebop, but I look at Parrot as more of a toy manufacturer. I don't look at Parrot as a flying camera option. At this point in time, maybe that'll change. John says, in my opinion, Parrot Bebops are a joke, but Parrot Disco is pretty impressive. Haven't had my hands on a Disco. It looks different. Have you flown it? So let's see here. God, we're going long, hour and 20 minutes. And you know what? The pizza man is about to be here with a pizza. So got to get in that pizza mode. Let's see here. Mark says if the Parrot Bebop costs less than $200, it would be a fun toy. But at $500 or more, you may as well get a Mavic. I agree. John says, sadly no, but I want to badly. It looks amazing. Talking about the Parrot. Let's see, what was that? Let me see. My chat just kind of messed up here. We're talking about the other Parrot thing. Parrot Disco. Let's see. Let me get a link here and see what that thing looks like. Parrot Disco. I know it's an airplane looking thing. Oh, wow. That's expensive. Let's see here. Yeah, so that's the Disco right there. Yeah, it looks different. I mean, I don't know, if you're doing like and again, this steps beyond the flight of a hobbyist, but if you were doing some sort of agricultural operation, maybe a winged aircraft such as that may offer some sort of advantage. I'm not really sure. But wow, that's expensive. Yeah, it kind of looks like if you're into military aircraft, it kind of looks like a B-2 bomber in a weird way. Little propeller on. I mean, obviously a B-2 does not have a propeller, but that's what I think of when I see it. Kevin says, have you used the Mavic Pro more than the Phantom 4 Pro so far? Actually, I've used the Phantom 4 Pro a lot more. The reason being is that I get 4K 60. And honestly, the Mavic Pro, from a video quality perspective, I could get better video quality from a Phantom 3 Pro or a Phantom 4. So, and for me, it's all about video quality. Doing YouTube videos, that's what's paramount for me. So, the Mavic Pro, I love the smaller travel size. I love the smaller travel weight. I've been preaching that since DJI, actually since they announced the Inspire. I was so distraught by that. I mean, it was too big and it's too heavy. And I was afraid that DJI was heading in the wrong direction. They were going with a bigger drone, a heavier drone. I don't want that. I want smaller. I want more lightweight, something easy to throw in your pack with your other gear and get out and capture those videos and photos from the sky. So, Jake says Typhoon H Pro versus Phantom 4 Pro. I would take a Phantom 2 or a Phantom 2 Vision Plus over the Typhoon H, and that's just my personal opinion. Based upon my experience in the field. So, Typhoon H Pro versus Phantom 4 Pro, definitely Phantom 4 Pro, without a doubt. In my opinion. And again, I'm just another dude on the internet talking about drones, so it's not, don't, take everything I say with a grain of salt. Yeah, the Typhoon H, if you're looking for that, there's your Typhoon H on 400 or below. And then the DJI Phantom 4 Pro. Which is right there. Yeah, it was, and talking to Jake here, and not just Jake, but everybody on the live broadcast. But it was my two. I had several gripes with it. Number one, Typhoon H. It was big, it was heavy, but it was still a manageable travel size and weight. It wasn't much bigger than a Phantom 3 Pro or a Phantom 4. The problem I had was a micro SD card slot on the controller was defective, which that's a nuisance, but it was still a testament of the quality of the construction. I didn't like it. The big pain point for me with the Typhoon H, and keep in mind I use the same 4K video editing workflow for all my cameras. My Sony Alpha cameras, my camcorders, my GoPros. I use the same 4K video editing workflow within Final Cut Pro that I use for everything else. So when I was editing the video, it was it lacked the saturation of color that I got with the Phantoms, and it just looked. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but I'll say it how I feel. If you think of a security camera on a house, it's a high-end security camera, good quality. And then you think of a camera that's used for photo and or video purposes. It's just a very refined quality. The visual quality that I got from the Phantom 3 Pro and the Phantom 4, greatly exceeded the visual quality that I got from the Typhoon H. Now, it was cool that the landing gear led up on the Typhoon H, but you really need that. And the controller was cool. It had an integrated screen, but man, that thing was big. It wasn't as big as like a Parrot Bebop Sky controller or something like that. It was thin, but it was wide. It was less inconvenient to travel with. So, for that reason, I didn't. I don't know. I want to see a competitor. I want to see someone compete with DJI, because anytime we get competition, we often get better prices, and we often get better products. And I haven't seen that competitor yet. I thought GoPro was going to be it, but they failed, at least with GoPro Karma version 1. So, what kind of pizza are you getting? I don't even know. The film crew and my wife, I entrusted them to make the best decision. So, whatever they get, I will be eating. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. So yeah, good stuff. Have you tried the Phantom 4 Pro Plus with the screen? Okay, so for everyone not familiar with the Phantom 4 Pro, there's 2 versions. I'm going to post a link right now. So Phantom 4 Pro is basically like an upgraded Phantom 4. You got a similar controller. It's got longer range. Obviously, fly line of sight to be safe and responsible. But it's got a 4K 60 frames per second camera, whereas Phantom 4 topped out at 4K 30. And you've got more obstacle avoidance in multiple directions, blah, blah, blah. But with the Phantom 4 Pro Plus, you're getting all that good stuff, but you're getting a controller that, first of its kind, has an integrated DJI screen. So instead of bringing your own iPod Touch or your own iPhone or Android device, it's got an integrated screen that on paper is supposedly so much brighter. On paper, they claim that, you can see this in direct sunlight, blah, blah, blah. To be tested. I have not gotten my hands on Phantom 4 Pro Plus yet, but I have my gut feeling is that I hopefully will be getting one soon. So, let's take that thing out in the field. Let's shine a spotlight at it and see what it does, because we need to know. John G says, ice cream. Yeah, I need to eat some ice cream. Actually, what I need to do is get on the treadmill and burn off some hot wings, because I eat a lot of hot wings. But would you rather Matrice 100 or Phantom 4 Pro Plus? Matrice. For everyone not familiar with Matrice, it's a DJI drone. And it looks kind of cool, but I look at it, it's like, this is a development platform. It's something that people could use as a tool to figure out what they want to do with their UAV business. This isn't a business. This is a hobby. For me, it's a hobby. So, from that perspective, Matrice, or Mattress, or whatever you want to call it, it's of no interest to me personally. What I want to see is a foldable and a more lightweight Phantom 5. Give me a modular camera. Give me a foldable design. Give me a controller with a slide-out screen. A controller the size of a Mavic Pro controller that has a slide-down screen. Give me something revolutionary. So, that's what I want. Anthony says, Happy New Year, my friend. What was the song that you used in the intro to your Justin Bieber Island video? It sounded like the song in the movie, The Social Network, during the Caribbean party scene. Actually, let me check that out, man. I think, so obviously the Justin Bieber Island song, that was Justin Bieber. I credited all of that within the video's description, so check it out. But the intro song, it was YouTube Content Creator Audio Library. And let me see if I can find the exact song. Shoot me a message on my Facebook fan page, facebook.com/IrixGuy, and I'll see if I can dig that up and send it to you, man. Send you a link to the song name. And Happy New Year, bro. So let's see what else we got going on here. I'm still waiting on my pizza. I mean, I'll hang out till the pizza gets here. Why not? You know. That's the good part about being an independent channel. You don't have deadlines. You don't have people saying, "Hey, you gotta do this. You gotta do that. You know, you gotta do this format. That format doesn't work." You know, you look unprofessional. I mean, I can come in here. I can wear a sport coat. I can wear a sleeveless wife beater shirt. You know, whatever I want to wear. And that's the beauty of being an independent channel. HDR Pro says, "Hey, Irix, have you used the DJI Osmo Plus?" I have not. And for everyone not familiar, Osmo Plus is the gimbal stabilized camera solution from DJI that has a zoom option. Have you used it? How did the zoom work? Steve, what are my thoughts on night flights? And obviously this is dependent upon the country within which someone is flying. And my opinion is that I don't fly at night because I know it's unsafe. Now, if I'm out over open ocean in my boat, I may take off at a low and responsible altitude, keeping my eyes on all the surrounding area to make sure there's not a low flying aircraft. But no, I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't do it. And I mean, especially in a lot of countries like Canada, and I think the United States, it's a situation where it's likely disallowed from a legal perspective. So check with your country's current regulations, and I would never advise flying at night. That's my personal opinion. Just to be safe, I wouldn't advise it. Jake says, "Do you know of any issues with the Phantom 4 Pro other than an occasional brick controller?" Well, it's funny you mention that because the Phantom 4 Pro, actually I do know of some issues, and we're gonna hit them up here in just a second. Let me get a link to the so the brick controller, the first Phantom 4 Pro that I got had a brick controller. Turned it on, it flashed, it beeped. Couldn't get it to work. Did all the troubleshooting scenarios. Did not work. And I was bummed. Then I got my second Phantom 4 Pro. There's a video link to it. Performed great. But even though it performed great, there were issues present. And you'll see it throughout my Phantom 4 Pro videos, where if you're watching intermittently, the video will do like that. It's my best way to demonstrate it. To illustrate it, rather. And I don't know if it's firmware related, if it's a physical gimbal. What I know it's not is the micro SD card, because I used the micro SD card that came with the Phantom 4 Pro, and then I also used a faster read and write micro SD card. The problem still occurred. And that problem was visible within the recorded video, not the real-time feed, the FPV live stream video. So hopefully they get that addressed. I plan to pick up a Phantom 4 Pro Plus, and hopefully that issue is not present, because for me it's perfection. And 4K 60 is the best video that I've seen to date. But if that issue intermittently occurs, it's not reliable for me. So I'm going to revert to I'm going to roll back, rather, to the Phantom 4, which has been the most reliable aerial 4K video platform to date for me. Jesse says, "Hello, IrixGuy." Hello, Jesse. Welcome aboard. And Happy New Year. Yep, so we got, this show, and this was not a scheduled show. I mean, something I want to do. Sometimes I think there's value in having a scheduled live show. But sometimes it's kind of a deterrent because it's like, well, you're scheduled, so you got to be there. And you may not be in your best mood, so you may not want to do it. But if you do a live show whenever you want to do it, you're in a good mood because you want to do the live show. Like tonight, I'm in a good mood. I want to talk about drones. I want to talk about technology, and I did a live show. So Jesse says, I got a Phantom 3 Pro, and I wanted to ask, I bought a Samsung Pro Tablet 8.4. Have you used their tablet? Sorry, my tablet misspelled your name. So, let's see. This is what I use. And let me get you a link here. So what I use is I use that iPod Touch right there. I know it's not glamorous, but it works. It's small, it's lightweight. I can configure my camera and I can see what's in the camera's field of view. Jake says, thanks for all the videos. You've been a big help. Happy New Year. Jake, Happy New Year to you too, bro. And hey, viewership is important. So appreciate your viewership. Tell everybody you know. Tell your colleagues, tell your friends, your family. Tell them to subscribe to youtube.com/IrixGuy. Because this channel, with y'all's help, can continue to grow. Charlene says, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Charlene, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you too. Thanks for tuning in live. Kevin says, how many batteries for your Phantom 4 do you usually have with you when you go out flying? Actually, I usually take about 3. And the good thing about Phantom 4, man, in flight time, I mean, you can get close to 30 minutes. I just received an update from my film crew that pizza has almost arrived. So we may be getting close to the end of this live broadcast. But don't worry, there's going to be hundreds of more live shows soon. But the host has to eat. So, yeah. How many batteries? Usually 2 or 3. And, that'll give me 3 batteries. I'll get over an hour of flight time. And that's typically, when you're looking at YouTube videos that are, your shorter ones are typically 5 minutes in duration, give or take a minute or so. That's a lot of video. That's a lot of 4K 30 video. With the Phantom. Oh, there's a pizza. Jesse says, my tablet is having problems with the DJI Go app. Yeah, check out the iPod Touch that I use. HDR Pro says, if you damage the gimbal on the Phantom 3, would ruin your range. I've never damaged it. So I don't have an answer for you, man. Jesse says, I think you should do more live broadcasts. I caught the end. Well, you know what? Every end is a new beginning. And there will be tons more live shows soon. Live shows soon. So, yeah, keep in mind there's 2 sites that you need to bookmark. EpicDroneShow.com and IrixGuy.com. So currently I've got 2 live shows. I got IrixGuy's live show, which we're watching now. This is episode 23 of that. But I've also got Epic Drone Show, which is drone specific. So, go to those websites. You can find the previously recorded versions of all the shows. And as much as I hate to do this, I mean, this is an epically long show. We've hit an hour and 43 minutes. I mean, this is a, what's the word for it? This is a new milestone for IrixGuy's live show. An hour and 43 minutes. So with that being said, the pizza's here. Got to go eat my pizza. And, just kind of be boss like that. So appreciate everyone tuning in. Again, be sure to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, share with others. And stay tuned for thousands more videos soon. Thanks for watching, and y'all have a good day.
Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's viewers like you that enable my channel to continue to grow. Thank you.